listening to Post-Credit Depression, where we discuss this week's current hyperfixation. I'm Kailen, and I had a caramel candy behind Mariah's back while she was at work today.
When I was at work today?
It's whose turn is it to introduce themselves?
I'm Mariah, and Kinsey thought we were friends for a whole year before we were actually friends.
I'm Kinsey, and I don't just take people on sushi dates that I'm not friends with. Also, Fuji apples are horrible, so if you go pick apples, make sure you get Jonathan one or like a red crimson one, because that shit slaps.
Yeah, we went
Fuji apples. We picked way more than we should have yesterday when we went apple picking.
Listen, I've never gone apple picking, at least I don't remember at this age. So when we got there, it was just fun pulling them off and being like, these are our apples, and putting them in our bags. But then we realized the Fujis were pretty disgusting.
Well, yeah, we followed Kaylin's boyfriend.
Well,
and
at first we were just going to pick these random apples. They had 6 different breeds of apples, and
then Kailen got the balls to actually bite one, and we realized what a mistake it was. We had 2 full bags of Fuji apples instead of
I was like,
and like crimsons. The 2 rules were not to eat the apples and not to drop them on the ground.
Hey, every group I saw walking by all had a bitten into apple.
Then I proceeded to place these perfectly good Fuji apples on the ground.
I know, they kind of look like kids just being dropped off, never to be picked up again.
But to be fair, there's already like 100 apples on the ground, and it was the first day of
milk.
picking, so there's plenty more apples to pick.
Plenty of days. It's the first day, and it was fine. But we got plenty of Jonathan apples that we are, in fact, turning into caramel apples after this podcast.
We taste tested all of the apples and deemed Empire not good, Fuji basic. And
no, I think the Empire ones were good. I think it was the Melrose ones that were good.
No, we didn't care for the Empire ones. We literally picked only Red Crimsons and Jonathan's. Mm-hmm. The Empire, you were like, no. And then what was the
I think
C
we got
one?
Melrose ones. Oh, no, I can't remember only... Yeah.
The Melrose.
Only your boyfriend knows.
And then the Corn... I always call them Cornell, but I don't think they were called Cornell.
I gotta say, though, they were the best apples in my life.
It was Cortland. The Cortland apples were not good.
No Cortland, no Melrose, and no Fuji.
So if you guys are looking for the best apples of your lives during the fall season, am I allowed to say where?
No, you should not say that.
Oh, why? Do you think people will find us?
Go to whatever farm you
It's a very top.
Just
go to your local apple farm.
And just don't get the Fuji ones, Melrose, and the and the whatever the C one was.
In the Cortland ones, something like that.
And just check for spiders before.
Yeah, definitely check for spiders. The amount of times I saw both of you go...
I'd go to pick up an apple, and a spider would be sitting in the stem like a little seat.
He was chilling.
Oh my God.
The listeners are like, these weird-ass girls biting into these apples with spiders probably in them.
And probably some form of pesticide on them.
No, we rubbed it on
our shirt.
we rubbed it so it was nice and shiny. We said, this is good enough. It wouldn't hurt. We've probably done worse.
Mm-hmm. Girl, I'm about to fall in love with the chair.
I mean, your name's so good that it's literally the same creator of your name. Which, I mean, it's been a while since I think he's done anything like that huge.
Never mind.
He said, listen, y'all, I gave you your name an absolute, perfection of an anime movie. And you guys are asking for more? I'm just gonna meme you. You're getting a chair, senpai.
Chair,
they had no business making that man.
So fine.
I haven't even watched the whole trailer. I literally saw a couple scenes and I said, that man with his long hair, let me say to Kinsey. And I was like, here's the whole trailer. Let me actually watch the trailer. So, I'm not complaining. He kind of gave me, what is that wolf anime you made us watch scenes? He kind of gave me similar vibes.
God.
Oh, Wolf Children.
I want to watch that so bad because he looks so hot.
But we already know the ending.
I don't care. I don't know what it is about those coded, male leads with long dark hair. They don't talk a
The
lot.
silent type, long hair, broad shoulders.
I'll eat it up every time.
Mm-hmm.
Chef kiss. They know what they're doing to me. I will be their number 1 seller. It's fine. You and I.
They will never run out.
It's okay.
So, what are you introducing this week, Mariah?
So, we just got done watching Over the Garden Wall, which is a Cartoon Network original written by Patrick McHale, who is also a writer for some of the Adventure Time and Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why it's so fucking funny.
Yeah, that's why it's so funny, and that's why probably some of it's very weird.
Yeah.
And it was made in 2014. I actually only know about the show because Kailen tried to make me watch it about 2 years ago, and I didn't because we weren't really friends then, but it's fine. I lied to her and said I would watch it. I said, yeah, I'll get to it. And then she's like, well, it's not really like the fall time, and it's only really good in the fall. And I was like, okay. And then the next year came around, Kailen was like, you are watching it right now. And she showed me the first 2 episodes, and I was like, what the fuck am I watching? This is a weird-ass cartoon. I don't understand the purpose. And then I said, I don't really care for this show, but I continue to watch it because I love Kailen dearly. And then I got to the 3rd episode, and I was like, wait a second, this is so funny.
Is that the school episode?
It is, and I think that Greg's just so funny in that episode. So, now that we've just finished, even though you guys have seen this multiple times before me, and I chose to share it, what are our opinions? So to anyone watching, this is a spoiler alert, only because it's that short of a show that we just watched it all. We wanted to talk about it all. If it was longer, we probably wouldn't spoil as much. But if you haven't watched Over the Garden Wall, I highly recommend watching it. It's only like 2 hours max of your life, bro.
It's not that hard.
It's shorter than a regular movie.
Your dad's already going to make you watch It's a Wonderful World. No, what's it? It's a Wonderful Life.
I never watched that.
Yeah, for Christmas. That black and white film.
I know.
With Mr. Potter.
Dang.
Well, I think we all had different favorite episodes, so maybe we could mention those.
Oh, we did.
What was your favorite episode, Mariah?
My favorite episode is the teacher episode because, one, it's like the first episode that really got me into it. Plus, I think Greg is his most like crazy, weird self in that one, and I think it's so funny. And I love the teacher song.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite episode... I think I like the tavern episode. I like all the different characters and the songs.
I'm the highwayman.
I make ends meet. Just like any man. I work with my
Knock
hands.
you out.
She was like, ooh. And what's your favorite episode?
I thought it was the mansion just because I thought it was a really funny concept that their houses were together.
Yeah.
But I feel like, when is Greg, like, the most prevalent within an episode? Because it was always the times when he had the most lines that I was the happiest.
Frog one is pretty good.
The frog one and the teacher when he talks a lot.
You know what? I
Drum
love...
me in the face.
That's what I was just about to say. I actually really love the frog one when he's singing because he's like, drum me in the face. And he's so serious.
And he's like, ow, ow, ow. Yeah, it's definitely a good one. Man, that's actually... I do want to comment. I'm putting this in the podcast. I want to comment that it is a very musical show. And, like, soundtrack, great. Dandy.
For the apple that he gave to me.
And, like, there's so much more depth to some of the songs that aren't in the show. So, like, it really is good. Every episode's got a little tune of its own. And I be jamming along. Mm-hmm. Every single time. It's a bop.
It is.
I played that shit when I was cooking dinner the other day, actually. I was cooking, and I was just like... I was about to sing a song, but I couldn't think of one. I don't want to sing too much.
I cycle through quite a few playlists now, and it's a mood.
But if you keep going through the playlist...
I hear Bean
is begging to get... He's really trying right now. This is the hottest he's been. If you listen to it far enough, you will get to a French version of Potatoes and Molasses.
Yep.
Potatoes and molasses. And I didn't know. I was like, I love this song. And I was like, wait a second. Greg is not speaking English anymore. But it's like a slower version too. So it's literally like, potatoes and molasses.
It's when they find Greg.
But does he sing it? Does he sing it in French in that scene? I think the show itself is like such a like. You did point out how like it was very dreamy on the corners, but even when they like weren't dreaming, it still had the corners. So I think that the show itself is just a very dreamy show. I was trying to keep an eye out for that like that episode when he's like in the real world, and I'm like,
yeah, oh yeah, if the corners were
they were
softened,
still when he was in the hospital. It was.
Oh, well, I feel like maybe they just wanted to keep it consistent throughout the show, but considering our conversation we were talking about, maybe they're in this in-between or like purgatory. Yeah. It makes so much sense that the edges are blurred so that it feels like their perspective in a dream.
I love how nostalgic the whole show is and the homages it makes. Homages. It makes to old style animation. The voice actors, the I'd say even animation choice references, like when you see them like walking a really long-winded way in like a one-shot like animation, it's just Greg and we're walking around along a path. I'm just like, it feels so old and like classic.
Yeah, it does feel classic. Like for something as like early as 2014, it feels like something that like would have been made in like the early 2000s, 90s style.
What's weird to me is I think it feels old, but it also feels so new,
modern,
because they took like the best parts of old shows like Flapjack, how they have all these painted backgrounds.
And the color scheme's really accurate to like Flapjack aesthetic as well.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I feel like the color palette makes it feel new, because a lot of old old cartoons, even older ones, you know, are still really colorful. And you don't really see a show that is this funny and silly. Like Adventure Time, it's very colorful. It's not as deep as this show.
Yeah.
The character designs, if you look at, like, a lot of the eyes, it's, like, 1920s style character designs and animation, like Betty Boop and some of, like, the Old North one, like, that reminds me of, like, a Popeye scene.
Oh my gosh, it does.
Betty
it does
Boop
feel like
or
a
something.
Popeye.
Mm-hmm.
The Highwayman is referencing the... You guys have seen the skeleton animation where he's dropping his pants and pulling them back up like that.
and Kailen sent me the TikTok. Put your pants back up. This place is already haunted. I called her. I was like, that was fucking hilarious.
I was laughing so hard at that video.
It makes references to, like, that old, like, where the size of the animation changes throughout because, like, it's just... It was the technical animation that they did then, and that scene was animated by Nick Cross, the art director of the show, and I love that scene where he gets small and big and it's all wacky.
The whole characters do that, like, even when they're young, like, yeah, Leva, his whole head is like...
Sings your love song.
Yeah. I think that I like that the episodes are all, like, such different concepts. Like, very rarely does the episode, like, bleed into where it's, like... Even though it is one whole story, it feels like it's separate stories amongst each other.
Yeah. Very episodic, and overall, I like the tone shift from fall to winter. It's like... I feel like after the frog episode, we're just not allowed to be happy anymore in the show. It, like, just gets completely dark.
It does.
And it starts so
really
bubbly
deep.
with the teacher episode and the pumpkins. And then it's just like...
The teacher episode feels like end of summer. Like, you haven't even really gotten to fall yet. It's interesting because, you know, when you, like, watch or read Harry Potter, it's like after the 4th book or movie, it's depressing as fuck after that. Like, you're like, Voldemort is coming. And, like, the color story for Over the Garden Wall feels the same way after the frog episode.
Yeah, when you first showed it to me, I was like, wow, it's such a funny show. Like, look at Greg with his beady eyes running around. Ha! And then all of a sudden it starts getting really deep, and I'm like, wait a second, there's an actual story happening right now. Like, it's not just like a normal, like, cartoons nowadays are just, like, episodic, and that's it.
I guess it depends on which ones you're watching.
That's true.
I feel like actually a lot of newer ones have such an overarching, like, deeper story.
Yeah.
But they contain the humor in it, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and that's what I think, that fact that it's not just individual stories. It is, like, at the end of the day, it is one full story, and it doesn't really tie together until you get to the end, which I think, like, I love shows and movies that give me that edge of the seat feel, like, oh my god, what's going to happen next? How is this going to make sense?
I want to just know, like, how they came up with the concepts for all the episodes, because they go... Like you said, pretty far in different kinds of stories. They're in a guy's mansion. They're, you know, helping a girl with an evil spirit that's possessed her. They're on a frog boat. Like, I want to know... But it all ties into the same world. I'm just like, I want to know what their mood board looked like. How did they come up with that?
That storyboard is probably insane.
Yeah, their storytelling really reminded me of JoJo. It's like, they get into these problems that you really don't know how they're going to get out of. Like, when they were in the haunted house with Lorana and everything, and he had the bell and the frog, and he was shaking him.
Let's try my plan.
It's just like, it's always like, what would you do in that situation? And then Greg comes up with some weird solution.
Poor Greg just wanted to be a leader. Little did he know, he was actually in charge, like, the whole damn time.
He was.
He was the only reason why they kept going forward. It's fine. Well, who's your favorite character?
Definitely Greg. Obviously. He's just so funny, and I feel like because he doesn't take things so seriously, he's able to calm down and actually look at situations for what they are. Obviously in his Greg silly way, but if we look at it 9 times out of 10, he finds more of the solutions than Wirt, who is constantly...
Why do I relate to Wirt
I know,
so
me too.
much?
Fuck.
Sometimes I look at you guys as my friends, and I'm like, the answer's so obvious, and you guys are like, no. We can't do it that way.
No, yeah, it has to be a certain way. I don't know.
I'm like, just go tell that person how you feel.
There's fake
and you're like,
rules.
No.
There's fake rules, and Greg was constantly breaking those rules, but then being fine.
Yeah.
If I'm Wirt, I'm like, oh, stop it.
The instant tenseness of like, please, you have to keep doing this straight line, even though that loop-de-loop is going to get you to the same location.
Who's your guys' favorite background characters?
Yeah, it was definitely like a side character. Who's your favorite side character? Am I allowed to say the frog? Is that?
Easy, yeah.
No. I'll pick like a side character from episode. Give me a second. God damn it! I suddenly can't remember.
I liked the horse.
I was gonna say the horse, and I was like, is that like?
I mean, he didn't have a lot of lines, but I just thought it was so funny.
Okay,
He just wanted to steal all the time.
I can't think.
My favorite character is Enoch, the black cat that goes inside the stuffed pumpkin. And he's also just the judicial politician figure in this town.
Why can't I think of episodes?
I thought Enoch was the name of the actual pumpkin man that was standing.
I think that the dead skeletons don't understand that.
No, I like
the cat.
The character.
The cat literally rules that big old guy.
Yeah, and I don't think they realize it that the cat is actually in charge.
Know that.
Did you see him at the end? He popped out.
Yeah, I just saw the cat was chilling in it. I didn't know that was him. Well,
yeah, I think my favorite character's gotta be like the frog. Mans doesn't speak,
but he sings.
Sings a nice tune.
And for a frog, he rolls with them. Like, he doesn't run away at all. Like, even when Greg puts him down, he hops with them. He's ride or die.
He's a part of this family.
I'm your frog now.
I will say, like, it's funny how they pick and choose which animals speak. Sorry, I wanted to hear what you said, but I also awkwardly paused, realizing that I was recording. What did you say?
Oh, I just said he'd freeze to death with him.
Yeah.
Like, he could have gotten the mud.
Man slept, he grabbed one little leaf, and he said, I will sleep too. Yeah, I do think it's funny that they pick and choose which animals speak. Like, I remember the first time watching it, the only animal I processed that was speaking was a bluebird, and I was like, well, that makes sense, because she's important to the story. Wrong. Other animals were also speaking. Even, like, the fish was fishing, and he was speaking, but then the duck that couldn't lay eggs was not speaking. They were just existing, and the dog. And the dog didn't speak.
Or maybe they were choosing not to speak.
The gorilla couldn't speak.
Just like Fred, you're right.
Fred chose when he wanted to.
Yeah, Fred was like, I'm eating my food and you're fucking annoying me.
He was like laughing his ass off, like keeping it secret.
You could see how he was like, when he was like going, nah, and then he'd be like,
I think I'm a fucking horse.
I would agree. What?
Oh no, I was just waiting to see if you'd acknowledge the gorilla comment.
I gave you a look about the gorilla.
But the audience can't hear your look.
To the audio listeners. I gave Kailen a full side eye because of the gorilla comment. But it's fine.
Another question. How did you guys feel when you first found out the twist that they live in like a... I'm not going to say modern. I don't know what decade Greg and Wirt are from, but to find out that they're just like normal grade schoolers that are just going out for Halloween and that Greg is an elephant.
This is funny because obviously it's my episode. I'm presenting this, but Kailen knows the show in so many more levels than I do because she is on the show to us. So I'm like, that's a great question, Kailen.
Well, if you want to ask that.
No, I didn't think about it. That's why I said that's a great question.
You're the newest watcher, though, so you have a lot of fresh opinions on what you think about the show.
I would agree. I think the first time... Which one laugh is that? The first time I watched it, I think that... At first, I think I was kind of confused because obviously, like, timeline of a show. I was like, why are we in this moment? But also, I understand that shows do those twists where they present... I know you're just looking at me like that, and I know it's just your face, but I'm like, she is judging my opinion right now.
No, I'm not. I'm just autistic. I just have a plain face sometimes. I'm like...
I liked the twist. I thought it was greatly appreciated versus them just showing me, like... They could have just shown me the story. They didn't have to give me the twist. But I loved, like, seeing them in, like, their real world, because then I'm like, oh, I get to see, like, how they ended up in this, which obviously would still, like, an idea. We'd have to look up and see, like, maybe what the creators' intentions were, if they even have that, of, like, what they did, and if it is, like, a purgatory type situation.
That's what I wanted to talk about after, because my answer to the question ties into that. Yes, Kenzie?
Oh, I was just going to say my opinion.
I'm, like, full-on starting my opinion. She said, hold on.
I wasn't even done.
I was like, I don't want the answer to the question, because I got to tell you what I thought.
Oh, well,
you know what I'm saying?
Mariah's not even done.
I just thought it was a very interesting twist. I liked that... I think it's funny that they went through so many seasons and then you go back and it's Halloween. Like, current time is Halloween. But in, like, this, like, world, they went through so much time. So I thought it was very interesting to see, like... And I think I talked to you about this. I wonder if, like, each episode was, like, some weird subconscious lesson for Ward. Specifically. Mm-hmm. Which I feel like made sense because obviously he was the character that changed and grew like the most throughout. Mm-hmm. And maybe even, I mean, something for Greg, but I think it was more of a Ward told story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my opinion about seeing that they were actually just regular kids was when I first got to see the flashback of them being regular kids, I wasn't really surprised by it. I was like, this totally seems like a purgatory kind of story or like this in-between death. Like that was my first guess. But I really liked seeing what the actual story was about, which wasn't just only about love or cliche stories. I really liked how it was Wirt struggling to accept this brother of his that isn't a quote-unquote full blood brother and isn't a step brother. Like, it's an even more complicated relationship. But
it showed the depths of the characters.
Yeah, it doesn't... I'm not trying to say that half siblings or full siblings matter more than one or the other, but for a kid who doesn't understand that it doesn't matter, it was so cool to see them make a cartoon about that kind of relationship for once.
Even just like the marriage part too. I mean, I have half siblings. I remember just being like, because I have one full brother, and I'm like, that is loud as hell, Bean.
Bean!
I have one full brother, but I remember being like, you're not really my sister because you have a different dad than me.
Yeah.
So like definitely understandable. Like, I mean, you have step siblings. That's even like
I have step siblings.
That's even like further disconnect.
I have a half sibling too. Lacey and I only share a mom.
Oh yes. I was like, what do you mean?
You got a 6-year-old one.
So like you understand that depth even more with step siblings. That's like even a further separation.
Yeah. And I would agree that the story, it totally seems like it's for Wirt and like what he struggles with. I mean, if you think about his age compared to Greg hasn't really gone through enough that people have made him think that he has to think a certain way.
How old is Greg? Like 8?
Way. He looks quite young.
Yeah, he's a very selfish kid in the beginning.
He doesn't even look like he's in middle school.
Yeah.
He looks like he's in some sort of
like 10 years
elementary
old.
school. And then Wirt, he's gone through like the middle school years. He's in high school now.
I thought I was talking about Wirt. Wirt's a very selfish kid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and he's very self-centered. He's thinking about how he's stressed out and what he's going through. So, I don't know, I just really loved the relationship dynamic and seeing how it grew and how he had to acknowledge, like, I should care about my brother more. Like, why am I so self-centered and why am I caring about what other people think about me instead of, my brother, who is still my brother, no matter how much I want to be upset about my parents getting divorced. And that was more of a deeper take, and I know we're
No, it really shows. It definitely shows. I mean...
Well, that's the part of the twist.
Think about the first episode where he's like, come on, Greg, keep walking. I don't have time for this. Keep walking.
Yeah, he's so dismissive.
Yeah.
And Greg's like, okay.
And then later on the boat episode, he's like singing along with Greg. He's like, wow, I love my brother. Jamming. And then he just gets like, I don't want to say, he doesn't get pissed at him later, but he's just like, I don't have time for you anymore.
Greg's just like, I'm just trying to exist. I came into your life, man.
And then
I didn't ask to be here.
Yeah. And then he realizes like, shit, that is my brother at the end of the day. And he did help me.
Yeah.
Well, I had an opposite take. I did not guess that it was purgatory literally till they fell in the water. I know you were like, I kind of figured they were in some weird world, but I just thought, I was like, they'll find the town sign that points them to the direction of their house, and they'll get there.
I think about death a lot. So
I thought it was like some dream world. I mean, after the first episode I didn't, but the second, actually, when Beatrice was introduced, I was like, they are not in the real world. This is a talking fucking bird.
And I mean, you look at Wirt's response. He's like, you are talking? Yeah. So
like the second I see a talking bird, I'm like, this is not a real life. This is a dream world. Specifically, Jason Thunderburger. Hey, Sarah, you want to go to the graveyard with us?
What do you think?
I would like to talk about how he was hyped up to be this, like, I'm not kidding, like, that scene where the jock is, like, talking to Sarah, I was like, he knows Jason, like, they're best friends, like, he's clearly a fucking football player, and he's in love with Sarah, the mascot, and I'm like, cool beans, where's he at? This man walks in, this fucking bowl cut, looking like a president.
even the mean girls, even the mean girls were hyping him up.
I would like to comment, that girl that was dressed up with an egg, her arms were in the egg suit. There were no armholes. She was like, I'm an egg.
She committed.
Yes. But they were making it seem like this man was, like, top dog. Like, I was thinking, like, popular boy in school. Even if he wasn't in, like, the football team, I was like, this is about to be the shit.
Yeah, Sarah didn't want anything to do with him.
No, this man walked in with, like, this Justin Bieber-looking haircut. His face was, like, this big.
He's making jokes left and right to Sarah, and Sarah's like, it's okay.
He's like, got closer and closer. And then he was trying
Jason,
so
stop
hard.
touching me.
And the fact that I guarantee you, like, obviously, like, not knowing because they don't show, I guarantee you Wirt is, like, regularly, like, low-key flirting with Sarah. And he's like, I don't have a chance. And I bet you Sarah's, like, giving him all the clues, all the windows. Like, this is your opportunity to make a move. And the second Wirt hears the words Jason Thunderburger, he's like, it's done. It's over. Even though Sarah's making it very clear that she does not like him.
I like Kenzie's comment that Jason Thunderburger looks like he could eat someone's skin.
He does.
He said he is a cannibal.
He is a cannibal. He could be a sociopath.
God.
He kind of has Jeffrey Dahmer hair now that I think about it.
That is why I said it. Thank you. That's why I made the comment. But, like, it just shows how low of a self-esteem he has.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
I mean,
what?
The opening scene is him tearing up that fucking tape, throwing it, and he's like, actually, just kidding. And he's
Just
like, wait, no,
kidding,
I'm getting rid of it. Yeah. Like, Mans is a Virgo. He's debating his whole life right here. and it's fine. And you know what? He was not supposed to go to that football game. He was supposed to take care of his brother, and that's why he got tortured for 9 episodes about his brother. And it's fine. He'll learn his lesson.
We all got lessons. Wonder what Greg's will be.
Greg's was to maybe take things a little more seriously.
Well, he learned responsibility.
Yeah, he learned a little bit.
Like, even when the fairy was like, I can't grant you that wish, you know, like, you can't help your brother if he doesn't want to help himself. And he's like, then I know what I have to do. And he, like, took the responsibility for that, like, little ending quest.
He's like, I messed up. Like,
oh, like he realized maybe you can't do everything you want to do, but that doesn't mean you don't have to be so serious.
Yeah, like, definitely, like, sometimes you just gotta, like, take a minute, sir.
But, like, I think that feeds back into Word's thing about it is he is the little brother. He's just a kid. And you can't expect him to even be able to take care of himself because he still ended up in the beast's hand. So he's like, shit, like, I kept blowing my brother off because I wasn't there for him as the older brother.
Man's first episode said, can you quote him for me? You do it good.
Boy, you've got it all wrong. You are the elder child.
Dude, deadass. He literally told him what he needed to know in the first episode.
And they said to give the frog a proper name, which they never did, but it's fine.
You are responsible for you and your brother's actions.
I would fight Jason Thunderberger if I went to school with him.
Somebody else ask about the beast.
Oh, about the beast?
Yeah.
The beast is upon us.
Well, I was asking the question at the end of, like, he blew the light out, so the beast was gone, so...
Well, maybe we can prefix what the beast, who the beast is. We haven't talked about him all this whole show, actually, which is actually funny because he's very important.
Well, in case you guys haven't watched, the beast is this, you know, anonymous kind of figure following them throughout the episodes, and with each episode you kind of see or hear more of him. And he's following them because he wants to eat their souls. But before he does that, he wants them to turn into edelwood trees so that the woodsman can, you know, cut them down, turn the wood into oil, and keep the lantern going. So not really eat him, but
which I'm assuming the lantern is his soul. That's my preference of the...
Oh, so he's kind of is eating them, but through oil.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's scary.
And he stalks these 2 boys every episode. There are a few where, like, he doesn't really make an appearance, but, like, his presence goes stronger and stronger every episode. He's, like, on their ass. They
definitely don't... They don't even mention him, so it's like the mansion episode. They don't mention the beast, like, at all.
No, they mentioned the beast the first episode, and then the second episode after the pumpkin town, shut the fuck up, Pottsfield.
Yeah.
There's an edelwood leaf that, like,
that's what I'm saying. There's sometimes they don't even mention him. In the mansion one, they don't mention him at all.
You gotta be an avid watcher to know when he is brought up in a subtle way.
Yeah. And he's following the whole time.
But that's who he is. My thing about the beast is, like, is he, like, the Reaper? Is he, like, kind of death itself? Because if they would have succumbed to the beast, it makes sense that they would have died in real life. So at the end of the show, when the woodsman blows out his light in the lantern, is he really gone, or is he just gone for now?
Yeah, you know? Mariah wouldn't let us talk about this much longer. She's like, save it for the podcast. But we were talking about them falling into the water during the, you know, modern world. What's it? The home world, I'll call it. Like
current time.
Current time. Well, it's not even about time. It's just like an otherworldly thing. They fall into the water, and even if they're dead for a second, they're in some sort of purgatory. They're not quite passed on to, you know, heaven or hell. They are just in purgatory. And him being the Reaper, that's Kinsey's theory, is that, like, he gets you, turns you into edelwood, and then, like, you die.
Which is also funny because it's not like...
And they would have died in the water.
It's not like this quote-unquote Reaper figure, like, died. Literally, like, the woodsman blew the candle out. Like, what is the woodsman's powers in this?
Well, what's the blowing of the candle technically represent?
Like,
because other people will go into a state of kind of purgatory, kind of like, you know, it's not like Wirt and Greg are the first ones. If you think about it, how did those people get there? The people.
Maybe it's not really a Reaper. Maybe it is just like the dream of. I don't know how to put it in words. My thought process right now. Like maybe it is some weird like story. I don't know how to say what I'm saying.
I think that the woodsman. Hold on, Kailen, you will be next. I think the woodsman is actually alive, and he was in purgatory with them. Hear me out.
Valid.
And when he was in the house with the birds, like Beatrice's family, it was abandoned. It was like empty and shit, right? But when you see Beatrice finally become a human again, they're in like a refurbished version of that house. Mm-hmm. So I feel like she
got out of purgatory as well.
Yes. So then the house could like be in the present time, or maybe she didn't get out of purgatory and maybe she accepted that she was dead, and then her whole family accepted that they were dead, and that they're living in that version of that world with all those characters. Do you know what I'm saying? So it makes sense that Wirt and Greg and the Woodsman were the only 3 people that were stuck in purgatory and were having to get out.
Mm-hmm. Because I think that the whole world of Pottsfield, that house, Beatrice's family, because she even said, why don't you stay here? Like, I think it is a world in its own, whether it's purgatory or not, or that he's a reaper in that world. It is a different world, but I don't think Beatrice got out of it. I think her and her family are still in there.
Well, that's why I gave the second option of maybe she had accepted her death, aka she was a bird and she got to turn back into a human, but she's still in that world, so I think she's stuck in that world because she is dead. And everybody else in that world are dead.
I think, unless my memory is failing me, which it doesn't do it often, the scene at the end when the woodsman is at his porch with his daughter, it is still a very dark and gloomy setting. So I was going to say something that the woodsman must have something. Maybe the woodsman and his daughter are both dead.
Oh my god, hold on. Maybe he had literally accepted that his daughter is dead, and by blowing out the candle, then he got to go see his dead-ass daughter because he's dead too.
I mean, think about it. He was sitting on the porch. It's not like he was in the house. He was sitting on the porch, and then she slowly comes out, like, crying, and he's, like, shocked to see her.
And we said at the end, we said, where has she been this whole time? If she was never in the lantern. Maybe because they were both dead.
She's already moved on. Maybe they were both dead, and she had already moved on!
Wow. You're welcome.
So did you end up looking up the actual...
no.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay. I thought that's what you were implying earlier, that you, like, looked up the actual... We should do that.
And then, literally the woodsman is, like, telling them the whole time, like, you need to get out of here. Like, I'm stuck here and I don't know how to get out. You know?
100%. That was... Someone look it up. I'm only saying that because I'm peeing. Again, I know. So, someone look it up.
I'm trying to remember what I forgot.
That's fine. Can see. She's used to having a secretary, but the secretary has to piss.
Okay, alright. Since the T guy is confirmed to be dead, his name is on the gravestone in chapter 9. They could all have just been in purgatory.
Who's the T guy?
The guy who owns the mansion.
Quincy Endicott.
Oh my god. Well, do you know there was a scene at the end where the woman was looking at the painting of the horse and him, and they were not with her. It was just her looking. Oh my! I just got chills.
Girl,
there was a scene where she's looking at the painting of them,
and maybe she's not accepting death and stuff like that.
Oh my! I just got goosebumps. Wow. Damn, son.
It makes sense.
Watching it, I never noticed that scene where she's watching.
I remember what I was gonna say now.
Yes.
Say it.
Okay. My theory is that because you were saying like, oh, well, anybody who goes into the state of almost death, like, will they not run into this world, or will they not experience this purgatory, this reaper, whatever is going on? Thank you. I think because it's Halloween night and it's in that graveyard, I think that I'm losing my train of thought. I'm sorry. I'm just all over the place.
That's like a portal because it's Halloween night.
Yeah, it's a portal
like
because
the veil is thin.
Yeah.
And that they can cross.
Yes, I don't think that, like, if Mariah fell into the water, if it's not her birthday, which, by the way, her birthday's on Halloween. Hold on, I'm trying to say too many things at once. Let me start over. My theory is that it's not that anybody can just go into this purgatory world by falling in the water, experiencing near death, or dying. I think it's because it was Halloween. It was near a graveyard, and that it was, like, this portal that, like, they could have died. Like, let's say it wasn't Halloween night, and it wasn't by that graveyard, they just fell in the water, they could have just been 2 kids that drowned. But that slim little portal was there, and because they beat the beast, they got out of it.
I think that's valid. I mean, I obviously, like, I wouldn't say my preferred, I really like sci-fi, fantasy type of shit like that. And, like, even, like, I've watched all Supernatural, and there was a whole season where they were in purgatory, and they made it very clear that there was, like, portals, literally a portal, like a portal night or a spell, whatever, to get out of purgatory. So I think that's a really valid prediction, Kinsey.
Yeah, and then that kind of answers what happens to the beast. The beast doesn't actually die forever.
What a piece of shit.
I think in that world where there was the woodsman, Greg
He's
and
always
Wirt,
there.
I think he's always there, and I think they were able to escape him. So now, I don't know how the, like,
all it takes is one person to go into purgatory and relight that lantern.
Yeah. I think his soul is always going to exist, but maybe he's not as free when it's, not lit. But if somebody just lights the lantern, maybe that is
Listen,
his
my
light
ass falls
source.
into purgatory. I'm like, I can't see. I'm just so dark. Oh, there's this lantern. Well, let me just...
Maybe for every graveyard, there's a different beast that haunts those souls that are in that graveyard.
I mean, yeah, that's even more intense.
Dang, that's insane. Because that's really good. Because you're right. It definitely feels like a portal-y type of thing because that experience. I didn't even think about the importance of it being on Halloween because it doesn't feel like Halloween at the beginning of the episode. Like, when I first watched, I was like, why the fuck they dress like that?
Mm-hmm.
What's up?
We had our secretary, Kinsey, do some research.
I'm the secretary in this group.
I
made the main boss, Leo Ryzen, work today.
I'm working.
Doesn't that make you the manager?
Oh,
Damn,
God.
son.
Well, whatever. So, this isn't, confirmed by the creators. I'm not looking at what maybe the creators
Just like
have
some
said.
Reddit theories.
These are just some people online.
Gotcha.
But saying that there definitely is purgatory. And all the people that are in the show are dead and have accepted that they're dead. Except for the woodsman, Greg, and Wirt. And that's why, that's why they warn them about the beast. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they can tell that they're real. They're like, y'all are not dead like us.
Yeah.
Like,
Actually, I'd argue, sorry to cut you off, that the tavern people also have not accepted death because they all fear him, and the guy that was driving the cart, the beast is upon me, and he's, trying to get away.
So maybe they're also in purgatory, but
maybe they're stuck on a loop.
I mean, they're only in the tavern. They never leave the tavern. And
yeah.
they even said the baker and the whatever need work. Like, they don't have work for people,
yeah, maybe
so they're all there.
Maybe they are still in denial that they're in purgatory, but they're stuck in this weird loop.
Besides the point, although there are other people that are stuck in purgatory with them, I think the point is that Wirt, Greg, and the woodsman have the best chance of leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, those people will probably eventually leave the tavern and get, smacked by the beast at one point.
I mean, even my theory of thinking that, the woodsman's dead, which, I mean, totally makes sense because they are in a very dark setting still when you see him again. But it's totally possible maybe he got out just like Wirt and... maybe his daughter was never dead. Maybe that was just his purgatory curse type of thing.
Yeah, but that totally makes so much
It does
more
make sense.
to
It does
me
make sense.
She is dead. And
but I'm just saying maybe that if what you're saying,
Because
maybe he did get out.
if he was alive, then why does his background look so similar to the backgrounds in
It
that
does.
area?
It does.
So
Yeah,
that's why I
and-
really think he is dead, and he's accepted that he's dead.
Yeah, and the daughter had to have gone first because he thought that she was gone.
And then he's stuck in his
Yeah.
purgatory looking for her. But really, she's in heaven.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Greg and Ward are just do.
Greg's
Greg's just singing tunes. Wait,
Yeah.
does that mean that George Washington is also?
No, because they also mention in here that people can be buried with items, and they're told that they'll have those items when they die. Think about it.
That's about
No,
thing.
think
That's
about
about thing.
Egyptians, right? Like, they literally believe that, or at least they did. I don't know what they believe in
So
now.
Greg picked
Do
up
not
this
credit me.
frog on the
And-
side of this graveyard in his
Frog?
real world neighborhood, fell in the
And
water,
he got
and
it from
took him to
purgatory.
I
That's
mean-
Which
so
would make
funny.
sense on
They
why
had-
when he let Ward Jr. go, he came right back.
Mm-hmm. And I
He's
mean,
like, I am your spirit, but I'm your Alahibre in this world.
Man straight up got a contract. He went into hibernation with all the other frogs, and Ronald just came hopping right back. He was like, actually, I belong with you.
Yeah, and then they also have just other things like the pumpkin saying, "Aren't you here too soon?"
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like,
Oh, yeah.
you're not ready to join us. You know, like, you are
Mm-hmm.
not ready to die.
Everyone passes through, or
wonder what
everyone
the difference
joins
between
us
the
eventually.
And
skeletons
everybody
and the
passes
other
through
ones.
Pottsfield, but that doesn't mean they leave. Like, what was the
Yeah.
quote they said? They never just pass through.
Yeah, no one
It's
ever just
because
passes through
they're
Pottsville.
fucking dead. They can't leave.
And you'll join us eventually.
You will join us someday.
They all do.
Yeah.
I
That's
think that
freaky.
we never really looked that deep into the show. We're just like, wow, such a cute, fun show. Look at them goofing off. Ha ha. Why is it like that? I don't know. Move on, next show.
That's
Yeah.
why it's one of my favorite episodes too. It's like the reason why it's not my very favorite
they
is
have his
it's
name on the grave. The T-Man. The man is dead.
Can you find there were 2 graves. I wonder if whose name is on the other one.
Says, this means that he died a long time ago and that he's in the unknown because he's afraid of being alone. By the way, in the house, Quincy, there are peacocks. Peacocks are a symbol of reborn. Like rebirth. Why would they just have random peacocks, right?
Yeah,
He's a rich
literally
man.
random.
They could put any animal in the house, but they chose to do
peacocks are a
Peacocks.
popular yard pet,
But like, why not
But
more? It's
being
just
rich, why do we only get to see peacocks?
and
right?
the fact that it's all white is freaky.
That is a huge symbol in itself. White peacocks. They're even bigger than colorful peacocks
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like symbolism.
dang, son. I just looked at the other grave and you couldn't see anything. So
Guys,
they
wait.
only-
It says, in episode 8, they are drowning. That means that they're ready to leave the purgatory. That's why the angels appeared to Greg when he fell asleep. So, when they're sleeping, they are actively drowning in the real world. Like, they're almost dead, right?
Yeah.
The angels appeared to him And he's being carried to heaven. Then Greg meets the Queen of the Clouds. The Queen tells him that he can ask a wish. Greg asks to go home, and she says that he can't go with Wirt because Wirt is now of the Beast, aka almost dead.
Mm-hmm.
Greg doesn't accept it, and he asks her to give him another chance. He will try to save his brother from the Beast now that the Beast has Greg's soul. So literally,
Dang.
Greg went to heaven. Was like, can I bring Wirt? Because I want to go home. Because he didn't know that he was going to be staying in heaven. And she said, no, you can't. But you can trade your soul for Wirt's soul. So that's why he went to the Beast. And the Beast was like straight up prepared to take Greg's soul in their little quote unquote deal.
Purgatory.
And then, take Wirt's eventually too. Because he just thought Wirt would give up.
He'd stay in purgatory. I don't think...
And that's why Wirt woke up. Because Greg gave his soul to the Beast.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason Wirt woke up from his nap.
Yeah, I don't think that she wished, like, oh, I want to be taken by the Beast instead. I think that he was like, instead of taking me to heaven, my wish is to stay in purgatory and attempt to fight the Beast. Like,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But to attempt to fight the Beast, he'd have to give his own soul to the Beast for...
Yeah, I'm saying I don't think he would... All I was saying is I don't think that he has to...
Poor Greg was like, I made one right decision so far, and that was to give up my soul for my brother's soul.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry. Bro, Mans didn't even do the right thing. He said, bring me a gold coin. He said, I got a honeycomb in the middle of the winter, somehow.
And then, hear me out, he says, the birds are talking to them, and the mom says that you can't help him if you're dead, and Wirt says, I never helped him being alive. Because he's technically close to death, and he's like, I can try to help him in this time of death.
That totally makes sense, because I mean, like you said, even though it was seconds long.
Yeah, all of the show happened within seconds.
And, they call the episode Into the Unknown, which is, like, another reference to, like, nobody knows what happens when you die,
Wow.
Dang.
I didn't think that dream episode was as deep as you mentioned it to be.
Yeah,
I thought it was
like low-key, like, he hated the dream episode.
They confirmed here that the woodsman is definitely dead. And that he had to accept his daughter's death.
It totally makes sense. Because, like, I didn't notice it beforehand, but watching it now, like, the whole setting still feels like he's in that situation. Versus, like, when Greg and them are back and it's bright and colorful and...
Beatrice is dead, and her whole family
that makes
dead
sense.
too.
I mean, that totally makes sense. It makes sense that Greg and Wirt are the only ones alive, because all those people were already in that world before they went in there.
The Beast was after the Woodsman, too, because once the Woodsman found out what Adel trees were made of, he always warned Lost Souls.
Yeah.
He's like, get out of here, the Beast will get you. And so that's why the Beast probably fought him before for the lantern, didn't win, and he's like, I need to find a new lantern bearer, because you're not producing Edelwood trees, and I know you were trying to keep your daughter's lantern alive, but you care about other souls too much. You're scaring them off.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Like, he was aware that I think that's true. I think that he was totally aware that he was in this purgatory, and he was like, I will be saving these people because I don't want to do this anymore. Even though I'm trying to save my daughter's soul, he's convinced.
He thinks he can bring her back.
He does.
So he's like using the existing Edelwood trees that were already there. He's like, I didn't know that these trees were being used for this when I signed up for Lantern Bearer, but now that I know, I'm gonna scare as many kids off as I can.
Yeah.
Or not just kids, but people.
I just got chills.
I told y'all I gotta think about death. I always be thinking about death, and I felt like...
Well, I told Kim the other day when she asked me about it, I said I think that they are in, like, a purgatory, but I didn't go in detail with it. I was just like, yeah, it's probably, like, a dream or, like, a purgatory thing.
I've never thought about the show as deep as I have until we started talking about it this podcast.
I mean, any shows like that are really deep. I mean, especially, like, it gives me, like, I think I've told you it gave me, like, Gravity Falls vibes, and that show's so deep.
I've not seen Gravity
But, like, if you
Falls.
watch it childlike, you're just like, oh my god, this is such a cute show. Even though, oh my god, it's such a cute show.
Cool jokes. Like, Greg is so funny. I gotta think about it seriously.
You look at those beady eyes and you're like, this kid don't know what's going on.
When I eventually get you guys to watch Midnight Gospel and we talk about it, you guys will see that show is for sure created by Pendleton Ward. Like, he's like top creator for it. And you're gonna be like,
what is it called? Midnight Gospel?
Yeah, and it's really good. And the jokes are funny. The
and it's bright and colorful like this.
Yeah, it is bright and colorful, but it is for a reason. Actually,
I can see that it's deeper than they're presenting. This dog is a mop.
We'll probably, I don't know if we could do just one episode about the whole show, because each episode has literally such a deep meaning. It's really good.
We'll just see. We'll break it down how we have to. I mean, think about whenever we talk about Attack on Titan, we're not going to be able to do that one episode.
Oh, yeah.
We're going
levels. This week is about Levi. Specifically.
Just Levi Ackerman.
Character arc. Thank you.
It's fine. Go with Over the Garden Wall. I think overall the perfect time to watch it is definitely in the fall time. I have watched it when I it's definitely turned into a comfort show for some weird reason, which I don't know why, but I'll be like, damn, my life, moving slow. Let's watch Over the Garden Wall, because I can watch it like that. Because it's that sort of show.
Yeah, it doesn't distract you from what you're doing. Like, just play it. It's short.
Kinsey, do you have any, it's 555. Do you have any other commentary?
I feel bad because I feel like I should have, like, joked more about the show. Because we got into such an
it's
intense
definitely
part
a
of it.
hilarious show. We just started talking about this
Just
whole
now.
purgatory, literally right now, the depths of the show. But if you would have asked us like 2 days ago, we would have been like, that show's so hilarious. It's so cute. We would have been a lot more giddy.
But that's podcast talk. It's like
no, it is. We were just saying, because like, realistically, if we didn't rewatch it like we just did, we probably would have talked about it in such a calmer light.
I would have been like, let's talk about every rock fact.
That's a rock fact!
Starting with number 1.
We'll have to start a Patreon.
Wait. Uncle Endicott said, I don't have no sense. No sense at all.
Uncle Endicott. Pegged me all wrong.
Pegged me all wrong. That's my favorite. I quote the no sense all the time to Kailen. I'll be like, that don't make no sense.
I quote the, don't be mad. When he's talking about going, spiraling into madness.
I tell Kailen, you shush. No, you shush.
The no sense at all I quote to people that don't even know Over the Garden Wall. So, after watching Over the Garden Wall and talking about it amongst us, Kailen, would you reshare Over the Garden Wall?
Nah. I found my best friends to share it with, and I've already shared it with... I'm just kidding. Yes, I would.
Oh, okay.
Kailen,
Would I share it with somebody? No. Would I recommend it? Yes.
You know what I mean.
Unless I really liked them, like how I like Mariah and Kailen, yeah, I'd watch the show with them. But I would recommend it to anybody during the fall season for how good it is in every sense that we've talked about today. There's other things I would share with people, but like this one I think, I'd rather recommend because I'm only going to watch it with people that I'm really close with.
To put it in perspective, audience, when I first met Mariah, I put 3 shows in her phone's notes. We were barely friends at the time. It was...
I didn't even like her.
Over the Garden Wall, Promised Neverland, and Beastars. So it is a highly recommended show of mine. I'd recommend it to anybody. Most of my recommendations are animation, but it's my top 3 recommended shows.
I think I would. I don't have a lot of friends that watch animated stuff like you guys, but I think that I would recommend it. I told my friend that she should show it to her child, even though he won't understand the depths that we just broke it down to. I think that it's still a funny show, and I think that if she watched it with her child, that she would like it. So, Kailen, what are you introducing to us next week?
Well, not that we're always going to do themes, but because it is fall spooky season.
It's spooky season.
I'm going to be introducing Silent Hill, the movie adaptation based off of the video game Silent Hill, because it reminds me a lot of a video game that we play called Little Nightmares. Just the creepy monsters you run into and the... I want to say just video game cinematography to it. It's really cool.
I mean, it's based off a video game, I would imagine.
Yeah. It's... I'm not one for scary movies, so I'm surprised that my first episode's going to be like a, in quotation marks, horror movie, but I'm not even that scared by it. I just really like the story.
Psychological horror.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we could definitely talk deep about next week.